Hi, DC. This is DC Cornish, and he's joining 40 Music Productions today. And DC, tell us one of your favorite stories, historic stories.
Well, it's not going to sound historic. Well, I'll tell you, I'll just tell it. How about that? The story starts with a young man by the name of Marquette Frye. Now, well, the story really begins with his mama, because his mama was growing up in Mississippi. I'm talking about the Jim Crow South. And she grew up in Mississippi having to deal with the Jim Crow South, but like a lot of people that was living in the South, there came a point in time in her life when she was old enough to get out of there. She packed up everything she had and she moved to Los Angeles, California. La La Land. Now when she get to La La Land, she was a single mom. Well, she was a single woman. And it wasn't long before she became a single mom, because she met a real nice fella and he loved her and left her. When he left her with a child, Marquette. Marquette grew up, but the problem Marquette had was everybody else had family. His family was, well, he didn't have no family. His family was small and he didn't have no uncles and cousins and grandfolks and things like that. So he went home and he started bugging his mom, wanting to know about his kinfolk. And she told him a few stories. But the thing about it was, the more stories she told, the more he wanted to go and find his family. And he begged and begged and begged till finally one day he got on her nerves. And she said, you know what? I'll make you a deal. Your grades ain't been that good. If you get your grades up and you walk across that stage on time, I will buy you a bus ticket to Mississippi and you can go see your grand. Marquette got his ticket and he got on that bus. And man, he rode that bus all the way from LA to Mississippi. Now when he got to Mississippi, having been born and raised in LA, he wasn't used to that. He saw dirt roads and tall pine trees and things like that, shacks and shanty towns and things like that. He was just looking out that window, and then when the bus stopped down near the town square, he got off the bus and he put his bag down, and he looked, and here come a woman. She was an older black woman. She couldn't have been no taller than this, and she was kind of round. And she walked up and she pointed her finger in his face and said, Marquette! Marquette! That's you! He looked at him with, Granny? Oh, my baby! And man, she threw them arms around him and gave him one of them big sloppy kisses can't nobody give you like grandma. You know what I'm saying? Man, she took Marquette all over town and introduced him. She was like, oh, this is my grandbaby Marquette. He from Los Angeles. And that wasn't good enough. She changed it up a little bit. She said, this is my grandbaby Los Angeles. He from Los Angeles. He lived in Hollywood. Man, I tell you, she loved her some Marquette. Now Marquette loved his granny too, because Granny introduced him to something that he had never experienced before. You see, Marquette's mama was the prototype for the single mama. And when Marquette would come home from school, his mama, because she worked 11 to 7, she'd be in the house and she'd be like, Mama, what we got to eat? And she'd be like, boy, go in there and make you a sandwich. But Granny was different. When he came home that first day, he came inside, sat down at the table, and Granny leaned over and said, baby, is you hungry? He said, uh-huh. What you want to eat? I don't know. I can make a sandwich. Say, baby, Granny will fix you something. And Granny went in that kitchen and she did what Granny do better than anybody else. Marquette looked up and Granny was rolling it out for a brother. I'm talking about fried pork chops, collard greens, corn on the cob, mashed potatoes, peach cobbler. Oh, suck it! Marquette was hooked on home cooking. And the one thing that he loved more than anything else was fried chicken. Matter of fact, he loved fried chicken so much that anytime Granny would look at him and say, "Baby, is you hungry?" Marquette would be like, "Yo, Granny, hook a brother up with some of that fried chicken." Now, all good things have to come to an end, includes Marquette's summer vacation. Marquette had to go back to La La Land, and when he got back, he was different. He was different because, well, later on that day, same day he got back, he kind of leaned there and said, "Hey, Mama, what we got to eat?" His mama looked at him and said, "Boy, you better go in there and make you a sandwich." "Oh, Mama, golly. Mama, what? Hook a brother up with some of that fried chicken." "Boy, I don't know nothing about no fried chicken. I don't know what you talking about." Mama, because I asked Granny, and she said, when you was a little girl, she showed you how to make fried chicken, and if you want to, you can make a fried chicken just like she can. And from that day on, anytime Marquette got a chance, he'd tell his mama, "Hook a brother up with some of that fried chicken." Well, I know y'all looking at me like, what in the world is the deal with fried chicken? But let me explain something to you. Historically, we didn't have a national chicken chain in America until 1971 with Colonel Sanders Fried Chicken. And Popeye and Church's and all the rest of them that you see came after that. The only way you got some fried chicken back in the day is you had to have somebody that loved you. That's right, they had to love you because they had to get a chicken, chop that rascal up, roll it in them 16 different herbs and spices, throw it in that hot grease, and gently rotate it until it was golden brown on all the sides. Only way you got some fried chicken back in the day, somebody had to love you. Hook a brother up with some of that fried chicken. Now, Marquette was persistent. Every time he got a chance, he'd ask his mama, "Hook a brother up with some of that fried chicken." And one day, Marquette caught his mama slipping. She'd been working all night and she came in. Now, when she come in, he was like, "Yo, Mom, what we gonna eat?" "I don't know, boy, I just got home from work. I'm gonna go lay down and take me a nap. I gotta sleep. I've been working all night." "Mom, hook a brother up with some fried chicken. Boy, you know what? I'm sick of you and that fried chicken. If I had some money, I'd buy chicken fried for you." "I got some money, Mama. I got some money. I'll get a chicken. I'll buy chicken." She said, "Okay." "Mom, what? Can I use the ride?" "What?" "Can I use the ride to go get some fried chicken?" "Boy, please. Here, you go get that chicken and you come right back." "Okay, Mama." Marquette went out there as soon as he closed that door. Boom! He was like, "I got the ride. I got the ride. I got the ride." Oh, come on now. You know what the deal is. It's Saturday. Marquette was looking good because you know what he did? He put on one of them nice shirts with that necklace and put him a gold chain around his neck, put him on some platform shoes, and man, got his belt up tight, combed his afro out. Bam! Oh yeah, he was looking good. He jumped in the ride and he turned it onto WZUP. What's up, what's up, what's up radio? And the Magnificent Montague. Now, the Magnificent Montague was a hot DJ in LA at the time. And he was like, "Okay, hey, 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 it's time to get down with the sound of Mr. Entertainment himself, James Brown. I feel good, da-da-da-da-da-da. I knew that I would, da-da-da-da-da-da. I feel nice, da-da-da-da-da-da. Sugar and spice." Oh, Marquette was riding on. "All right, boom, boom, all right. I got you, bum, 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 bum. Ow! Now you got the ride. You looking good. You know what you need? It's scoop up your homeboy. Now Marquette hung out with his cousin. So he went to his cousin's house, pulled the car in front of the house and started blowing the horn. His cousin looked out the door and said, "What's Mama Frye doing out there blowing the horn?" He stepped out the door. Marquette jumped out the car and went, "I got the ride! I got the ride!" He was like, "I'm on my way." His cousin went inside, put on his platform shoes, his nice shirt, those gold chains around his neck, combed out his afro. And so the next thing you know, they ride down the boulevard. They was leaning so hard their afros was touching in the middle. And oh man, they listened to the soul sounds, and it was the Magnificent Montague. And he was like, "Hey, hey, 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 it's the Magnificent Montague, and it's time to get down with the sound of the Temptations. Each day through my window, I watch her as she passes by. Oh yeah." And they ride along, man, looking good. Now it's Saturday. You got the rock. You looking good. You got your homeboy. He looking good. You know what you need now, don't you? Say it with me. Girls! That's right, girls!
Okay.
Now, you girls, and the best place to get girls was Avalon Park. Avalon Park was where all the fellas go to shoot basketball. And the girls would kind of just stand out there and look at them and talk and make fun and everything. So they rolled up to the park. Now when they rolled up to the park, they didn't go over to the basketball goal. They parked the car and they posted up on the car. Now for those of you that aren't familiar with that term, please allow me to explain. That's when you turn on the car, you turn your music up real loud, and you stand next to the car and you lean like this. And the girls be passing by. And finally these two girls passed by. And when they passed by, Marquette, he shot at him like this here. So, they was like, "This your car?" "Bam! I got the keys. I got the keys. Y'all want to go for a ride?" So the next thing you know, they all in the car. They riding down the boulevard. Now they ride down the boulevard. Now I'm gonna tell you something. These was nice girls, okay? Marquette was riding in the front with a girl. His cousin was riding in the back with a girl. And like I say, these was nice girls because you know what? They were sitting way over there by the door. But Marquette knew what to do. Marquette was riding on the boulevard, then all of a sudden he made a hard left turn. And when he made that hard left turn, them girls slid over that bench seat. He made that hard left turn, and them girls slid over that on that bench seat, and it was like, bam! All right. Oh yeah. Matter of fact, that move has been patented. We have a name for it. It's called COD. Come over, darling. I'm telling you. Oh man, oh. Now they was riding along and they turned on the Magnificent Montague, and Magnificent Montague was like kicking it like this. He was like, "Hey, hey, hey, brothers and sisters, it's time to hear that songstress, Diana Ross and the Supremes. Baby love, my baby love, I'm missing ya." And that's when Marquette's cousin leaned up from the back and he said, "Yo, Marquette, what? Let's get some drinks." "What? Let's get some drinks, fool." "How we gonna get some drinks?" "Don't you worry about it. You stop at the liquor store. I got this." So Marquette pulled into the liquor store. Now when he pulled into the liquor store, I tell you, his cousin went in there and came out with the drinks. When they came out with the drinks, oh, they went back to the park. But this time they didn't go back by the basketball goal. They pulled up near the botanical garden where you could sit there and see the beautiful flowers in the sunset. And they were sitting there, man, and they was drinking and laughing and listening to the magnificent Montague. And, oh, man, he was playing. I stopped. Hey, it's the magnificent Montague. And how about another hit from those golden voices of the Temptations? Each day through my window, I watch her as she passes by. I say to myself, you're such a lucky guy. To have a girl like her, it's truly a dream come true. Now, you know, if they were to write that song in today's time, you'd get arrested for being a stalker. But back then, it was cool. Now, everybody's loved up, you know, having some drinks, they beautiful flowers, a wonderful, you know, view and things like that. And then that's when the girl sitting in the back with Marquette's cousins goes, wait a minute! I know you! Your name Marquette! And you go to my cousin's school. And this is your mama's car. And it was like the light had come on. Marquette, he said, Mama! Oh, man! He looked at the poor little girl and said, get out the car. What? Get out the car. Get out the car. His cousin was in the back and said, man, what's wrong with you? We got this girl. You got this girl. What's wrong with you? He said, man, I thought my mama was coming right back. Look what time it is. Mama gonna kill me. Mama gonna kill me. Y'all got to get out the car. Y'all got to get out the car. Marquette reached over, opened the door, started pushing the girl out the car. His cousin was like, man, you done lost your mind. He said, man, you can get out the car too. I'm taking this car to my mama. His cousin jumped out the car, ran around, hopped in the other side. The two girls were standing there on the corner. They had attitude too. But Marquette did not care. He cranked that car up and he put the juice to it and boogity, boogity, boogity. There he goes, man, down the boulevard he going. He gets on the boulevard and he turns and he hits on the highway. Now when he hits on the highway, Marquette is trying to get the car home to his mama, right? So he's speeding a little bit. He had a few drinks too. So he's kind of like going like this here. He gets the attention of a chip. That's a California Highway Patrol. He gets the attention of a chip. Here comes that chip on that motorcycle. He right behind that car. Marquette's cousin looked behind him and said, it's the law, man, the law behind us. What we gonna do? Marquette never turned around and said, Mama gonna kill me, Mama gonna kill me. He said, Marquette, you better stop, that's the police. Oh, no, Mama gonna kill me, Mama gonna kill me. And he kept on going. Now that patrolman on that motorcycle, he put the juice to that motorcycle and whoa, scooted up right up there, right next to Marquette where they could see each other through the window. And he gave Marquette this signal here. And Marquette looked at him and went. He kept right on going. Now I tell you, that patrolman pulled up and he pulled up again. But this time when he pulled up to Marquette. He gave Marquette the signal to pull over, but this time he reached down and he unsnapped his pistols. That's when his cousin said, Marquette, man, stop, that police gonna shoot us. You know they like shooting us. Come on, Marquette, stop, man, please, we gonna get in trouble. Marquette said, I tell you what, our exit is coming up. I got an idea. When I stop the car, you go get mine. Huh? Marquette pulled over. He crossed 2 or 3 lanes of traffic, hit the exit. He went down the exit, shot back into the ghetto. When he pulled into the ghetto, he stopped by the pool hall. When he stopped by the pool hall, that chip was right behind him. The chip pulled in behind the car. Marquette told his cousin, go get mama. His cousin jumped out the car, took off running. The chip got off his motorcycle, pulled his pistol, drawed his pistol down on Marquette and said, put your hands where I can see him. Marquette stuck his hands out the window like he'd seen and been told how to do that. He took his hands out the window like this here. He said, reach out, open the door from the outside. He opened the door from the outside and he said, now on your hands and knees, crawl down and lay down flat on the ground. Now in the meantime, Marquette's cousin is running. He's running to Marquette's house. When he gets to Marquette's house, He runs up on the porch and he starts beating on the door. Boom, 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 boom. Who is that beating on my door? Miss Mama Frye said. And she walked to the door and she said, baby, what you beating on my door like that for? What's going on? What's going on? Mama Frye, police got Marquette. Police got Marquette. Police got my baby. What's going on? I don't know. I ain't in. And he took off running. Mama Frye went inside and she got ready. She put on her house shoes, she put on her robe, and she threw that hat on her head. And you can always tell when the sister got business to take care of. Because when they just out having fun, they'll have their purse and they'll just walk around the purse like this. But when they got somewhere they going, they put that purse underneath here and they lock down on it and they look like Emmitt Smith on Super Bowl Sunday. And here comes Marquette's mom. She coming down the boulevard. Now, her friends see her, they go, girl, where you going? Where you going? Police got my baby. Girl, wait for us. We coming too. Now, before you know it, here come Marquette mom and some other folk coming down the street. Gets to be a crowd. When they turn that corner, she looks over and Marquette is standing up because the policeman that talked to Marquette smelled alcohol on his breath and is getting one of them sobriety tests. So Marquette is standing there with his head on top of his head like this. His mama walks right up to him and did the same thing my mama would have done to me. Boy, what you doing? I told you to come home back. You don't got and I don't police. Mama, please don't hit me. No. Well, what happens is the patrolman, he realizes that he's going to need help. So he didn't call for assistance. Now, California Highway Patrolman is a state policeman. The ones that answered the call were LA policemen, LA patrolmen. So the two LA patrolmen answer the call. Now, when they pull up, what they see is a California state trooper standing there doing nothing while a black man and a black woman are fighting in the middle of the street. So they pull their car to the side, jump out the car, they run over and grab Marquette and body slam him to the ground. When they do that, Marquette's mom is like, my baby! And she jumps on the policeman's back.
Oh no.
The other policeman comes, grabs her around the waist, lifts her up like this here, and she goes windmilling. Now, while all this is going on, all the people that have gathered around start yelling, hey, leave that woman alone. She ain't done nothing. Y'all need to quit coming down our community treating us any kind of way. Let that woman go. Leave us alone. Leave us alone. Let that woman go. And then somebody threw a brick. Somebody threw a brick. And at that moment, the African American community we know today as Watts exploded.
Wow.
For the next 4 days, there were riots all up and down the streets. The California governor had to call in the National Guard to set everything down. All these different things happened. But America was never the same. This was the first riot in what they became known as the Red Summers. Because for the next few summers after that, every year, Detroit, Chicago, Harlem, Houston, Denver Harbor, New York, all exploded just like Watts. Dr. Martin Luther King came to Watts. But Dr. King, when he came to Watts, he wasn't down south amongst the Bible Belt. He was now in what we call La La Land. His style of nonviolent protest wasn't going to fly with them. He was welcomed, but he wasn't well received. another group out of San Francisco, California, known as the Black Panthers. At that time, the Black Panthers had, their total membership was about 300. But by the end of the Red Summers, the tens of thousands. America was never the same.
Stokely Carmichael.
Stokely Carmichael, all of them came from that.
Yeah.
Stokely Carmichael gave us the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. From the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, we got the Freedom Riders, Medgar Evers, and others. America was never the same. And a fellow that was born in Louisiana, who went on to become a professor of African Studies at the University of California at Berkeley, by the name of Dr. Maulana Karenga. He looked at it like an academic and he said, what would make people turn on each other and be so self-destructive that they would burn their own communities?
Yeah.
They do that because they have no idea of their identity. They have no concept of their history. They have no ideology of their culture. They are empty vessels. We need to teach them some of the philosophies. We need to teach them that we were kings and queens. We weren't always all slaves. We need to teach them. And he started putting together from a philosophy called Kawaii, an African philosophy that's found throughout the African continent. He began putting together the 7 principles of Kwanzaa. He chose the language of Kiswahili. Kiswahili is a Pan-African language that is spoken throughout the continent in one form or another. He gave us the Nguzo Saba, the 7 principles. The Nguzo Saba. He chose the number 7. 7 is very prominent throughout Kwanzaa because although it's an African philosophy, he was born a Baptist. And for him, 7 will always be the number of completion. The number 7 is prominent because 7 is the number of completion. And you have 7 candles. The idea of lighting the candles is light dispels the darkness. Mm-hmm. Light allows you to see your way. The lighting of the candle is the bringing of knowledge and enlightenment. The first candle that sits in the middle of the Kanara. The Kanara is symbolic of us, our foundation, who we are. The Kanara. And that's the first candle that's lit is the black candle. Because the black candle represents unity. Without unity, there is no vision. Without unity, there is no power. Without unity, there is no growth. Everything starts with unity. You always light the black candle first. The next candle you light is the red candle. We must become united. And the red candle represents sacrifice. Once we become united, we must be willing to sacrifice and work hard for the goals we wish to achieve. And so it's the black candle. You use the black candle to light the red candle. Then you use the black candle to light the green candle. The green candle represents potential, new growth, which is different from the red, black, and green flag of Marcus Garvey, where black is for the people, green is for the land, red is for the blood. In Kwanzaa, black is for unity, green is potential, red is sacrifice. And you have 7 principles. Now each principle carries with it certain responsibilities and ideology. First we have Umoja, unity. Unity is the power that strengthens all of us. They tell the story of the father who's a great king, and he had his sons together, and he wanted them to understand about what it was like to be a king. And he brought a bundle of sticks, they were tied, and he told them, said, break that bundle. The 2 big strong boys went up and they grabbed it, they put it over their shoulder, and they tried to break it on it, they couldn't break it. He looked at the youngest boy and he said, you want to try? He said, yeah, I'll try. He walked over, he reached in there and he pulled out 1 stick and he broke it. And he did that till he broke them all. The moral of this story is united we will stand, divided we will fall. Unity powers all. Kujichagulia, self-determination. He included self-determination because we, from the time that we were taken from the motherland and brought over here on boats, the one thing that hurt us more than anything else is we could no longer define for ourselves. Self-determination, Kujichagulia. We needed that. It was taken from us. We define who we are. We define our goals. We define our place in society. Not you. Nobody else. We do. Kujichagulia. Next is Ujima. Ujima is something that we complain about all the time. We say, you know what? Sometimes we like crabs in a barrel. That's why we need Ujima. Ujima is collective work and responsibility. We have to accept the responsibility for getting things done in our community. We have to accept that as our responsibility. We don't need no handouts. We don't need none of that. Because if we work together and hold each other accountable, ain't nothing we can't do. Ujama. Oh, Ujama. Now that one is a booger. Because that is cooperative economics. We got to learn how to work together. We got to learn how to work together. And believe it or not, it's something we as black people have done. If you ever go down south of the islands in Haiti and places like that, they have what's called a tontine. And in a tontine, everybody in the community will help one person get a stove. And then once they get a stove, then they will all work together to help another person get the stove.
Wow, that's
until
great.
Everybody has the same thing. Cooperative economics. We gotta stop being like those crabs in the barrel. The minute we see somebody else getting a little ahead, we pull them down, push them up. The next principle is Nia. Nia. And it's more than just a pretty girl's name. Nia is purpose. What are you here for? If you believe in a higher power, he did not put you here for no reason. What are you here for? What is your purpose? And Black History Month is wonderful because if you during Black History Month, if you look at our people, we found our purposes in many, many different things. George Washington Carver, a small boy who was traded for a racehorse, who gave us a couple of hundred different types of inventions. But he knew his purpose was more than just to be a slave. He did that as Tuskegee. Booker T. Washington knew his purpose was to be more than a journeyman. Kumba, creativity. Our creativity is on display every day. I mean, right after Reconstruction, when the Civil War was over, if you look at the American patent, you see all these patents that were things that were created by black people. We were very creative people. We, from day one, we have had to make a way out of no way.
Yes, we have.
We are very creative people. And we took that ability to create, that ability to innovate, and we took it to the mines, we took it to the oceans, we took it to the skies. Kumba, creativity. Last but not least is Imani, faith. Now, believe it or not, we all have faith. We're born with faith. A lot of people say, what? Born with faith? How you born with faith? How you born? Because faith has nothing to do with being a Baptist, a Methodist, or anything else. The best example of faith I can give you is my daughter. When she was about this big, I was out of work. And I was doing the at-home dad thing. And I would sit on the floor and my little girl would come and she would play. But I always had me a glass of Kool-Aid. I put that Kool-Aid right there. She'd look up there, she'd see that Kool-Aid, and she'd pull herself up on that table, and then she would walk on that table to get that Kool-Aid. And if I was lucky and paying attention, I'd grab the glass before she knocked it down. But one day, I did that. She pulled herself up and she was kind of rocking, and she started walking on the table. I grabbed the glass of Kool-Aid, I stepped away from the table, and I held it in my hand. I put it on the cabinet. And I looked at it and I said, come on. Come in. Come in. She looked up at me and she pushed herself on that thing and she looked and her eyes lit up and a smile hit her face and she let go of that table and she took her first steps.
No.
That's faith. Ain't got nothing to do with Jesus. Ain't got nothing to do with the Bible. Ain't got nothing to do with that. She was born with that, just like you. Now, one of the things that you have to, like, Dr. Karenga had been a teacher of African American Studies at the University of California at Berkeley and at Long Beach. And as he stood there and he watched the country explode, black community after black community, he began to ask himself, like I said, what is missing? What is missing? This goes above the individual circumstances of your particular community. This is something that is missing from us as a people in our soul. And he said that there are none so ignorant as those that have not been taught. So he made it his point to use Kwanzaa as an opportunity and a platform to teach. Like I said, and as he said, we were more. If your total ideology about how you are and how you are conceived is immersed in slavery, you are forever a slave. He wanted to break that chain. He wanted to break that chain. He wanted to shatter that legacy
And Kwanzaa does help do that. It definitely does. And we definitely thank you, DC, for coming and giving us this history that I could never have imagined.
Well, thank you very much, because it's something that we need. And I was fortunate enough that when the Kwanzaa stamp was first given, when they first issued the Kwanzaa stamp, the United States Post Office first issued the Kwanzaa stamp, I was fortunate enough to meet Dr. Maulana Karenga. Karenga was traveling around and doing different programs, and he found himself in Funky Town, Fort Worth, where I have chosen to live. He found himself in Funky Town, and we were getting ready to have him do a reading of his book at our bookstore. And we ordered the books, and we ordered the stamps and all the memorabilia, the tie pins and all that kind of thing. And I was fascinated with the man. First thing, in my imagination, having read about him, I saw him as this big guy. But he's not. He's about this tall. He's kind of round. And he's down to earth. He's down to earth. And I really enjoyed it. And what I did was, when he finished his tour, when he finished his presentation in Fort Worth, the next day he was in Dallas. So when he showed up in Dallas, I showed up in Dallas.
Oh boy. And
then he traveled to San Antonio. I found myself in San Antonio. Then he traveled in Austin, and I went to Austin. So I actually followed him and asked questions and studied. And in doing so, he asked me, and he actually got a chance to teach me the idea of being what I call myself now is the urban griot.
Yeah.
He said, the griot tells the story. He says, you have been with me long enough, you can tell my story. He says, and he told me then, he said, it all began when I watched the Watts Riots. So I thought it would be appropriate to start the story with the Watts Riots, to let people know that this one incident sent many things in many directions. Dr. King began embracing the younger people. The Black Panthers, they blowed up. And Dr. Karenga, he tried to heal our soul.
Yes, he did. And thank you so much for coming and telling us this valuable information. We really appreciate it and look forward to having you back with us soon.
Not a problem. Thank you so very, very much.
You're welcome.